Deep conversations are starting.
Hello, everyone, to another episode of Deep Conversations by Breath Hub. I'm with a lovely lady, Kavita.
Hi.
Am I pronouncing it right?
Yes, Kavita.
Yeah. It's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And it means poem.
Yes, it means poem in Hindi.
Yeah, beautiful. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you
and
for
I
having
would
me.
like you to introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Kavita Golia, and I'm an embodiment and transformation coach. So I help people to move forward in their lives by connecting with themselves and their bodies and blocks of frozen tension and so on. So, and also a lot of personal development, but with ways of connecting with your body and getting out of your head.
Yeah, so it's actually personal development with more Shakti energy, with my more divine feminine energy in it,
Yes, I would
right?
definitely say that for sure.
Yeah, I feel very, very connected and also touched with that because I've been saying for a long time, I work with women mostly, and I've been saying for a long time, like self-development, purely self-development methods doesn't work for women because it's like it's all about action plans and coaching, but as women, we need to stop and tap into that goddess energy, that feminine energy, stop, embody, and connect. So I would like to learn more about your story. Like, how did it all begin? How did you decide that this was your mission and this was your path?
Yeah, well, it's I'll be very honest here. I was quite the party girl when I was younger at university. I was doing my degree and worked in events, worked in nightclubs, and was very much a party girl. I partied hard. And I think after a while, I was thinking, like, what is my actual purpose? This isn't fulfilling me. I'm tired, I'm partying a lot, and I think I'm living this amazing, fun life, but really, what is my mission? What's my purpose? Yeah. So I started off doing a course with Namika, doing a luxury wedding planning course. Launched a company, wedding planning company, went to Ibiza, the most beautiful wedding, and I was like sitting over the most beautiful sea and like thinking, this is my dream, and I just sat there thinking, this isn't me, this is not fulfilling me, this is not,
this is not
something else.
Yeah.
And then I just randomly decided to go to Thailand to do a 200-hour yoga training. And I can honestly say it was an intuition feeling. All my friends were like, this is weird. You just started your company and now you're going to go off and for a month to your 200 Ashtanga Vinyasa training. And I was like, well, I like fitness. I was very into personal development. My degree was in psychology. I was into people and, the mind. And I knew there was something there. But if I'm honest, it wasn't a mental decision. It was just intuition. Yeah. So I did that, the 200 hours, which when they told me at the beginning that it was going to be a spiritual, like a development, I was kind of like, I don't really understand.
So you mainly thought it was kind of like a little fitness.
I was into my fitness. I thought I'd go and lose like weight and get really skinny and do just the spiritual stuff, whatever that was, And so
detox.
Detox and that was kind of it. I'll see what happens. And it was one of the hardest times in my life. I cried to my friends. I want to come home. I lost who I was. It was as if I had this identity in London and suddenly I was stripped bare and I literally was like, I don't even know who I am.
I love it.
Actually, it was really hard. So I did my training with the yoga people and they were very much into transpersonal psychology and chakras and all those areas. So as soon as I got back to England, I was...
Let's not go back to England. Let's first stay there a little.
Okay.
I think you're explaining it so nicely, like your name, like with poetry, like being stripped apart. Let's just stay there for a while because I want to know more about the experience. I had experiences as well. Yeah. Maybe that's why. Like when I'm a meditation teacher and I have been teaching meditation for some time now, and I explain this to my students as well. Without, tapping into that meditative state in your life, it's like without, I think, doing meditation day and night every day for at least a few years, don't even think about going to a Vipassana course because I did that. So I was kind of like, it was a similar experience. And I wasn't meditating, I was just doing some yoga. And I thought, okay, Vipassana, you know, what could happen? 10 days, silent retreat. And the second day, the third day, I was on the floor crying and throwing up and, you know, stuff coming out. And it was kind of like, who is this woman? But that was the real me. So I want to stay there a little because I think that's very much enlightening, and it's so powerful for people who are listening to us right now, because it's kind of like, this is how it goes. Like, this is how you transform into who you really are. So what was it happening? Because like me, you were probably also like conditioned about who you would be and all these thoughts about I should be this, I should be that. And then you're just all alone, stripped apart, you know, naked with yourself, and you're nothing like the, you know, individual you or the person you drew, you know, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason why this is why I went into embodiment as well. And I think with the yoga, it was my first experience of the mind-body connection. And I try not to say mind-body connection because it makes it sound separate. And I'm a full believer that it's not separate. But it was the first time through breath, I was introduced to breath, because obviously the breath and vinyasa, and you'll do the vinyasa while you breathe. And obviously the breath being you connecting with the present moment and connecting with your body. And that's the first time I'd ever done that. So I think all this stuff that was happening in my body, or everything I pushed down, anything, all the emotions that I'd pushed down, it was the first time I'd given it a chance to surface.
Yeah, and with breath, it just comes up.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, I'm all this stuff, I don't really know where all this is coming from. And it was really confusing, and it was like it was God, and the physical side of it was much harder than I expected. It was like 3 hours a day. My feet were bleeding at the top where we were doing such and it was God, it was really hard. I found I've done a lot of trainings. That was the hardest training I've ever done.
Yeah, like going beyond your limits, and I think you needed that, like we all do.
Yeah, and it just brought up a lot of questions, kind of like, I just remember the image of, you know, in England, I'd have like, because I was a bit of a party girl, I'd be out, I'd have my, you know, makeup on, I'd have this whole ego and this whole persona. And then there I was just like, I was like, and there I was like,
I can
sweaty.
connect with that.
Yeah, honestly, I looked an absolute mess. I was crying. I was just like, so it wasn't what I expected, but I think it was what it was. It was my first introduction to getting out of my head and getting into the body and realizing how powerful movement and breath and embodiment, even on the smallest level, is. Yeah.
Just meeting yourself.
Yeah.
For the first time.
For the first time,
level.
when I was like 32 as well. So it was kind of a lot. There's a lot there.
I was around 28, I think, when I joined my Vipassana, and a mess. And I moved out of it like something new, just like with something new, and another woman was, you know, myself was out of the training actually. So it's just brilliant what happens with breath, movements, breath, you know, meditation, like, you know. And how did your life transform after that? Like, how did it change? Like your relationships, friendships, your whole life? Because it's kind of like that's what happened to me after the Vipassana course. It was kind of like such a transformation. And after that, I, you know, went on studying breathwork and getting the certificate programs and all that. But it was kind of like everything was changed. And when I was back, it's kind of like there were some people I couldn't relate with. There were some people I did have deeper connections with. So what was happening for you after that training? And of course, after your trainings and transformation, what changed, what stayed?
Well, do you know what? You hear a lot of people say that their relationships changed, and etc. when they go on this like journey, because it is, once you start, in my opinion, there's no going back. It's like the rabbit hole. There's no just going back to normal life. It's like, oh, okay, you scratch the surface and it's just deeper and deeper and deeper. It's never ending, is it? So my relationships and everything actually stayed. All of my friends stayed. My family thought I was crazy. A lot of my friends just loved me and just thought I'd gone a bit nuts, but they were like, okay, she's a bit nuts anyway. It's just like another thing. So, you know,
she went from that side to this. She was nuts.
Just like, just accepted it. Yeah. So they kind of. So I'm thankful that all my friends, and I didn't lose people in the process, because I think my friends are just very open-minded, and I made some deeper connection, like new connections through being in the world of self-development and spirituality. But it was just the real start of, wow, just so much transformation in me. And I think my values and how I am as a person, how I show up in the world, and that's been the biggest thing. And it taught me what I wanted to do in life, you know, like yoga. I went on to do like a master's in transformational, like in transpersonal psychology, and I did 5 more yoga trainings, but it still wasn't connecting. I was like, I don't want to be a yoga teacher. There's something. So I did coaching and I did more trainings. And then it's when I did breathwork that was the massive, that was the biggest change.
On top of that, breath work.
That breath work's what took me into embodiment, because when I did that, I realized how much is in the body and how much trauma is held in the body, and I've never had an experience as powerful as I have in my breathwork training.
Yeah, because it's like all the psychology is just in your physiology, psychology, and mentality. It's just the same thing. It's just layers of energy just stuck in your own system. Yeah. And that's why people are dense, people are tense, and get sick and all that. And like these are everything people already know about. I don't want to go there to bring something more special. So because you were also trained as a psychologist, and also like you got some, training on transpersonal, and you're also, I think, working a lot on the psychological level. You probably can't help it with the, breathing, breath work. Like, what are you bringing on the table, like unique? What's your thing?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually train as a psychologist, but I did my master's in psychology and I didn't do the training in psychology. I was a coach. But I worked very much with for my master's dissertation, I worked with plant medicine and psychedelics, and I'm actually going to get that published, which is huge at the moment.
I would love
with
to read
psilocybin.
I
can send it to you.
Please,
So, and that for me is, I am actually going to do like integration coaching with psychedelics, and that for me is really, really interesting with the development and helping people connect with themselves. And I'm massively into music, hugely into music, and I got my decks, and I'm bringing that more into my, because I started thinking there's what you call the old you and the new you, and I always thought that it had to be like, oh, I've left that old me behind and now I'm the new me. And then I was like, no, why can't I'm a whole person, why can't I bring my past and what I used to love into what I do? And it's only when I really started doing that I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I will use music, and I'll use like psychedelics. I won't give psychedelics, obviously.
I love that. By the way, I love that part, because I think this is something people need to hear. Like, let's underline this part. I think the same. It's kind of like our story, our origin story is so much important. It's kind of like you can't just leave your old self and be someone new. It doesn't happen. It's like you transform into something else, and then you bring all your past and your origin story and who you were and your experiences, mistakes, including like everything, and then you transform it into something else, and you were able to do that. That's brilliant. And that's what makes people a brand or a real teacher, because that's your gift. Our past is our gift.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was like, okay, I was a party girl. I loved my music. I loved my ways of sort of ascending and like sort of, going to different states of consciousness. But I was like, how can I bring my love of that in a legal and, accessible way, which is huge. I mean, EDM, electronic dance music, is really big in the wellness space now. And I know with you guys doing like Soul Circus, and you've seen in festivals like Wilderness and even like Glastonbury.
I think it's all coming together, right? I mean, I think how I see it is with the next generation. I think it's all coming together. Yoga, breathwork, meditation, music, partying, and everything is coming together because it's all one already. It's just that Shakti energy. And because people didn't have the right tools like yoga, meditation, and music, dancing and trance music and dancing, it's kind of like that's, I think, why people needed, a lot of alcohol or drugs or whatever. It's like, I think we can tap into it with, like you said, more legal ways, and even with psychedelics and, trance music and breath work, and create something, a healthier environment for people who want to tap into different levels of consciousness, because we can't obviously stop that. That's a human's basic need. I think that's kind of like if you are evolving and if you evolved into, your life, it's kind of like you're like, what is this all about? And you want to tap into different levels of consciousness. I think this is, some people are, still fearing that, like some still have a fear still about that, but I think that's the old generation now. It's kind of like the new generation is very eager, to, tap into those levels of consciousness. I think you're doing something amazing over there.
Thank you. Oh, well, it's huge with the psychedelic space, Imperial College, Harvard, John Hopkins, places like Synthesis and Amsterdam, and like working closely with Imperial. And I think there was a misinterpretation of like when you go out drinking, or if it is illegal drugs, or that people still want that tribe and still have that dance. So when you're in a club, you still have that feeling of we're all together, but in actual fact, things like alcohol are numbing your consciousness. So there's so much more with that
to
space,
experience
and
with awakeness,
opening,
being awake,
and connecting with yourselves rather than numbing from yourself. So, but there is a huge trend now. It's getting bigger, like sober raving, all that kind of stuff is getting
Let me hear about those a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, God, there's lots of even like big DJs. All doing things with psychotherapy and sober raving, and the new generation especially are drinking less and less because they want to have high states of consciousness and awake and connection and
feel the music, feel the vibe, feel their bodies. That's awesome.
Exactly. So it's getting there's so many, I see things every day where, especially in the psychedelic space, where I'm just like, I can't believe how big this is getting. They had something on Times Square, billboard flashing the other day about plant medicine in Times Square.
Wow, amazing.
Which I was like, wow, this is amazing. So, it's really exciting. And it just feels really right to me that, and so aligned for me to be in that space.
Yeah.
And then breathwork and psychedelics, and it's getting bigger, and the music thing.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Do you do personal work, or do you lead workshops, or?
So I do one-to-one, and then I'm going to go more into like group stuff as well. But I used to have my own event called Tune In at the ministry, but obviously with COVID and everything that stopped. And then I called it tuning because it was tune as in music, but tuning in. So I work with some like one of my friends, Michelle, who does voice, and she does sound therapy. So all that space. But I definitely want to do more.
I'm looking forward to organizing an event with you.
That would be so amazing.
Because, hey guys, this is real good news. We're going to be organizing events with all these lovely breath workers and teachers very soon. Probably when this podcast is out, there will be, some events going on. So check it out from our website, www.breathhub.app.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would
I'm
be
looking
amazing.
forward to attend, be there, and
Yeah.
enjoy. And you had amazing experiences in Soul Circus as well. I
Yeah,
heard the
that
whole
was-
team. For anybody who doesn't know, our whole team was in Soul Circus with around like 30 breath workers and 30 teachers. We did workshops, and the whole Soul Circus event is amazing. I mean, I couldn't be there this year, but next year I'm really looking forward to it. How was it? How was the experience for you?
Yeah, it was fab. I was a little bit nervous. I thought no one was going to turn up. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, it was really lovely. And I like to teach breathwork with music. Like music, it's just, I think,
Yeah,
takes people
yeah.
on certain journeys. And yeah, I absolutely loved that aspect. And it sealed it for me more, actually. I was like, wow, okay. Because a lot of people coming up after saying, oh, the music was great. And I was like, this feels right. And yeah, I had good feedback. Had a couple of people having a few, moments. But I think as long as it can bring stuff up, breathwork,
Yeah.
especially, as long as you have
Yeah.
people support you. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I
loved
think
it.
even by by yourself, I usually like suggest people, if you're doing breath work by yourself, just go ahead and do 10 minutes, 15 minutes
Yeah.
daily, because then it doesn't get that strong. I don't think people need like an hour of breath work daily, and they can get the
Yeah.
whole thing. They can tap into the same experience by just dividing it into like 5 different sessions, doing 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's why actually we developed the Breath Hub app, so that people could, go ahead, use it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes on their own. And then if you need or want a deeper experience, then you can go ahead and find a breath worker and, do a maybe 2-hour session. And so
Yeah, I do agree with that. And I think with the longer sessions of like connected breath, it can be quite the great thing with
Crazy.
Breath Hub is, I mean, you can do like 15 minutes or you do a box breath, or you can do, just coherent breath, or something that's just
Yeah.
really simple to get used to it and just
Yeah,
get and sort of notice any emotions that might come up. And it's a lovely, gentle way to even journal and be like, oh, okay, this is what's coming up. And then
Yeah.
the more intense
Yeah.
stuff with a
And
breath
sometimes
worker.
some people don't enjoy. I think the masses will not ever enjoy that deep stuff. It's kind of like, I've been in this work for forever, like for over 25 years, and it's kind of like no matter what you do, some people don't want to go there. It's like it's just too, and it's like in my own experience as well. Like I'm not the person who I was 25 years ago. 25 years ago, I needed something stronger. I was young. I loved doing 1.5 hour, 2-hour breathwork sessions. Right now, I mean, for the past 10 or more years, I myself don't enjoy that either. It's kind of like I don't need it anymore. I more enjoy, more classic Vedic meditation. My system, with all the work I've been doing, mind work and everything, my whole inner system is already silent. It's like it's already very near to Zen experience. I just like closing my eyes and meditating for half an hour. But I wasn't here many years ago, and I can understand. Like people are in different levels of consciousness. Some people need that. I think masses will enjoy Breath Hub app,
Yeah.
but some people, among those, will want
Like-
to go deeper,
Like the rocket
like
fuel.
we did, huh?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And I have to say that,
the
like,
crazy ones.
yeah, I mean, yeah, because
Not everybody has to be crazy,
I have been that person. I've been quite a yang personality where I'm like, oh, I just want to, and I have to say, even I'm a little bit resistant to the real deep one sometimes, because I'm, unless somebody's supporting me and doing it on my own, I find too much.
Yeah, I mean, but it all
sometimes.
depends on, I think, your level of consciousness and also your view of life. And when I look back 25 years ago, it was all about live fast, go fast, fall hard, make
Yes.
mistakes,
Yes.
It was all about that energy. Now I'm almost 50 now, so it's kind of like, let's chill, let's
Yeah.
just chill and relax and meditate.
Yeah.
So it's, and the best thing I think is that there is there is breath work and breath work techniques for every level of consciousness. It's like, if
Absolutely.
you want to relax, there it is. If you want to, if you want to pump up your energy, there is techniques. And That's, I think, the beauty of breath. It's like it's very much connected, aligned with human psychology.
Yeah.
It can get us to wherever we want to. Like calming down, 2 minutes. You know, energy, 2 minutes. You
Yeah.
know? Isn't that amazing? Don't you find it amazing? Like how every breath affects how we feel, how we think, who we
Yeah.
are, how we decide. It's just crazy.
Your physiology can help so
The
many.
power of breath.
Yeah, it's so, and it's great with breathwork because even if you do, I'm quite the girl who quite likes my yang hit workouts, all this kind of stuff, and even my yoga would be like rocket yoga. It would always be that real intense stuff, like rather than the yin. But the beauty with breathwork is you can do it. You don't have to go to a class for 40 minutes or an hour. You can literally be like, right, I'm going to take 10 minutes out. You know, and just change your physiology and your mental state within 5-10 minutes. It really is amazing. It's been the most powerful thing for me.
Yeah.
And really shown me how much is in the body and how we can move forward and with connecting with that and connecting with the present moment through the breath.
I think this was an amazing conversation. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
But I have one last question for you.
Okay.
I
it's
like
the hard
this
one, isn't
question.
it?
Yeah. So I see that you're also a very dedicated woman on her path, and I love your passion, ambition, and like
Thank
on helping people and transforming their lives and being someone who transformed your life. What would be the one thing you would like humanity to learn and understand and get it, before you die?
Connection. We've got everyone's, of course, we all have our conditioning and our egos, and that's part of human nature. But for me, it's not just about connection with yourself, like connection with each other. Because humanity really could just take away all the armor,
Nonsense.
and that's what we're meant to do. That's what we're born to do. We're born to connect. We're born to be in community and, as tribes. And if everyone could learn that, and it would be a beautiful world. We would,
Yeah. So you are someone like me who would like to see people connect with people raw.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, be vulnerable,
like
and
raw and just
vulnerability, honesty, and connections. Without a doubt.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for
much.
sharing your
Thank
heart,
you for your
mind,
time.
soul.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening and watching. I will see you in the next episode.